You need to make sure that you have read the top of this. We're going to talk about participles. A participle is a verb form that is used as an adjective, okay? There's two types of participles. There's a present participle, and it ends in ing. So working, walking, those are typically work, and walk are typically verbs, but they're ending in ing, and they're acting as an adjective rather than a verb. And then there's past participles ending in ed, d, t, en, or n. And again, they're acting as adjectives, not as verbs. So, for example, the broken record continued to play. Your verb here is continued, okay? Broken is describing record, okay? That's why it's acting as an adjective. Does that make sense? Okay, so a participial phrase is a group of words that includes the participle and all the modifiers. So looking for interesting new toys all modifies the manufacturer, which is the subject. Okay? Molded of cast iron all modifies thanks. So look would normally be your verb and mold would normally be your verb. But in this case, you already have your verb in your sentence. So you got to see how they're acting in the sentence. This is the one thing that GT students struggle with the most, especially my math and science kids, is they want to go left to right, and if they don't know it, they want to just guess. You can't really do that when you get to verbals because you got to see how they're acting in the sentence. So on parts of speech, sometimes you have to skip them and come back to them. So let me show you what I mean. I don't know what frightened is here because I don't know how it's acting in the sentence. But I can do the rest of it and then analyze it after. Okay, by is a prep. The is an article adjective. Sight is a noun. You know me, I like to get rid of my prepositional phrases. Sight is the object of the preposition, and this is an prepositional phrase, but because I don't know what frightened is, I can't do that part yet. I also want to notice right here that there are commas. So make sure that you pay attention to those comma rules because sometimes those are speed signs for you or traffic signs for you that help. They is a personal pronoun. Stopped is an action verb. And cold is to what extent or how did they stop. So that is an adverb. So they is your subject. Stopped is your action verb predicate. So what happens is you're left with this chunk of words, frightened by the sight. And even part of it is a prepositional phrase. So you're left with frightened. And it's kind of sitting there all by itself. You have to ask yourself, what is frightened by the sight doing? It's all modifying the they. Okay, and if they is a pronoun, that means the only thing that can modify a pronoun is an adjective. So on level 3, this whole thing, frightened by the sight, is going to be what we call a participial phrase. Now, I know some of you kind of get worried because you have level 2 here that has this big blank and that makes you nervous. When you have a participial phrase, if you want to just cross it off on level 2 so your brain doesn't worry about it, that is just fine. And since by the sight is modifying frightened and frightened is an adjective, that makes this an adverb. Okay? We have one subject predicate set, which makes that an independent clause and a simple declarative. Okay, again, my math science students are really going to want to race through this and just kind of guess, especially when it's the first word in the sentence. And when you do that, you're going to make a mistake. So just slow down and trust me. There's some more examples on this backside. Okay, they is a personal pronoun. Spied is going to be an action verb. A is an article adjective. Shape is a noun. Not sure what lurking is. Lurk would normally be a verb, but it's ending in ing. Okay? So I'm going to leave it alone for now, and then I'm going to use in the dark as a prep phrase. In is a prep, the is an article adjective, dark is a noun. Finish out my prepositional phrase. Dark is the object of the preposition, and in the dark is answering the question where. So it is an adverb prepositional phrase. All right, your predicate is spied. Who or what spied? They. They spied. What did they spy? They spied a shape. So that is your direct object. What you're left with is lurking in the dark. What is it doing in the sentence? It's modifying that shape. Well, what can modify a noun? An adjective can modify a noun. So this whole thing right here, lurking in the dark, is what we call a participial phrase. It starts with a participle and has modifiers. Okay, and it goes all the way to the end. You have a subject predicate set, which makes this an independent clause and a simple declarative sentence. Okay? I'm going to skip scared. I'm pretty sure, given that all of these are probably the same, it's probably a participle, but I always like to be convinced first. Out of is what we call a combined or compound preposition. Out of is a compound preposition. His is a possessive pronoun, and wits is a noun. Okay? Finish my prepositional phrase. Object of the preposition. Again, it's modifying scared, so I really don't know what that's going to be, and I have a traffic signal right there. Okay, I'm just making notes as I go. Ichabod Crane is the name of a character, so he is a noun. Flees is an action verb, and from Sleepy Hollow is going to be a prepositional phrase. From is your prep, Sleepy Hollow is a noun. It's also the object of the preposition, and this is answering the question, where did he flee? So it's an adverb prepositional phrase. Ichabod Crane is your subject, and flees is your action verb predicate. So you're pretty well done, except you have this funky group of words right here. Scared out of his wits. Got to ask yourself, what is it doing? Well, scared out of his wits is describing Ichabod Crane. And Ichabod is a noun, and an adjective can modify a noun. So this whole thing, scared out of his wits, is a participial phrase. Okay, out of is modifying scared. Scared is an adjective. That makes this an adverb. I have a prepositional phrase. I have one subject predicate set, which makes this a simple declarative. Now, I didn't do it on this one up here or here, but if you're worried because you don't have anything under that adjective, you can just get rid of it so it doesn't hurt your brain. Like, oh, I've got to have something there. All right. Brom is a noun. Ooh, check this out. I got a traffic signal here and a traffic signal here. Disguised as a ghost. I'm going to skip disguised, and I'm going to say as a ghost is a prepositional phrase. The is an article adjective. Ghost is a noun. Object of the preposition. Come back to that. Scared is an action verb. Ichabod is a noun, and away is answering the question where. Where did he scare is away. So, scared. Who or what scared? Brom is your subject. Brom scared. Ichabod is your DO. All right. So we have this phrase right here that's set apart by traffic signals or commas. Now, I don't want you to jump to the conclusion that just because you have them there that is an automatic, a positive phrase, because it's not. Brom, disguised as a ghost, it could be. But for this case, because disguise is normally a verb and it's ending in ed, that's what we called a past participle. It's modifying Brom. And what can modify a noun? An adjective. Okay, so disguised as the ghost is a participial phrase. And as the ghost is going to be an adverb because it's modifying disguised. You have one subject predicate set, which makes it a independent clause and a simple declarative. This type of sentence is where you just have to not jump the gun and guess. You have to go see how it's acting in the sentence, which means you have to get to level 3 before sometimes you finish level 1.